What's up, internet world? All right. All right. I changed. Let's jump to it. Last time I said I was going to keep it short, and then it went on for like 25 minutes. So that's something I just need to get a handle on. Try to make my communication shorter and to the point. I think many times I talk too much for myself, doing my mental processing out loud, and I should have things a little more organized and just speak to the point, be more efficient. So, um, I'm going to try to do this in under 10 and maybe even less. So, I've written here that I'm going to talk about thoughts on diligence, responsibility, posture, burden, and exercise and diet planning. I went for a run this morning, did a little boxing workout. I bought a punching bag, and it's kind of fun. And actually, it's a great workout. There are I downloaded. You can find some workouts on YouTube, and man, just a 30-minute workout, and I can't even get through it, to be honest. It's like if you really push yourself, if you really put your weight into your punches, then I mean it burns you out. So what I did this time to attempt to get through it, so I could break it up a little bit, I would do one sort of phase. There's like 6 phases of the exercise, and then I'd go run around. It's like a 0.75 mile little loop in my neighborhood, and then I'd come and do the second phase. And so I did 3 loops around the neighborhood, 3 phases, and then I'm gonna do some more a little bit later today and try to get through the whole thing. So, um, all right, I guess I can start with exercise and diet planning. We'll work backwards. And there was some different thoughts that came to me while I was out for the run. Um, and I didn't have my phone with me, which usually I'm attaching it here so I can track distance. And then, when I get ideas, I can jot them down. So I need to figure out a new method for that. But basically, I just wanted to throw out, for me, exercise, like I've gone through different phases in life. There was a stretch where I was, in the gym and lifting a bunch of weights and maybe running some treadmill. And, but eventually I've kind of settled on, I just want to have exercise that I want to have forms of exercise that are interesting enough that I never quit, and so I think one of the best ways to do that is just variety. So what I've done, and also just to hold myself accountable. So what I've done in terms of diet and exercise is I just went on a calendar, a week calendar, and just wrote down good descriptive. Not well for the meals, very clear meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day of the week, and then this helps me understand exactly what groceries I need to buy, so I'm not wasteful on the groceries, on the spending, or wasteful with food, and and then also um, kind of keeps me eating the right amounts overall, and good things, and breaking it up and mixing it up and keeping it interesting. Because sometimes I think if you try to, like, you could say, okay, I'm just going to eat chicken and onions and smoothies or something, and then you just get bored out of your mind of that, and it's really hard to stick to it. Although some people can. But that's what I've done is gone. I made that calendar, and then same thing for the exercise. And so I've broken it up with a bunch of different forms of exercise, just so that I'm always doing something and just changing it up. I'm keeping running as something that is frequently in the mix, but I've got this punching bag over here, and so on Tuesdays I'm doing a boxing workout, and then on Wednesdays and Thursdays I'm doing a P90X chest and so like upper body workout, and then on Thursdays a P90X leg workout. Fridays bicycling and just push-ups and pull-ups. Saturdays I take a break, and Sundays an ab workout, and then Mondays running, and then I'll work running in and push-up running. Mondays running and push-ups and pull-ups. So just trying to mix it up, and I think even I use basketball as exercise. Like just shooting out in my driveway. So I think just anything, if there's any form of exercise that you just kind of enjoy, anything that you enjoy that has a byproduct of exercise, just use that. I think just use that as a way of getting your exercise. So, I make numbers for myself for how many shots I need to make, and I try to push my pace. So, and then I cycle through that, and then go do some push-ups and pull-ups, and um, so it just makes it a little more fun, a little more interesting to get that stuff done, and it's something you need to get done, and because you gotta do it, or else you lose ground, as you age. So I want to give a shout out to Rob Yohannick and Pernell McDaniel, Nathan Douglas, and Brandon Thompson. We did e-open mic on Monday night, and I thought it went really well. Had a good time with everybody, and excited for the next one. I've got mic club developments underway, so I should have an announcement. I would say within 2 weeks, maybe sooner, about the next stages for that. So I'm really excited about that. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, I just want to reiterate again something I said in the last one. So I'm changing this from Run Diaries to Runologue. Runologues. So this is Runologue number 3. I just like the sound of that better. I don't know. Just I don't know. I'm not. I'm a man. I'm not supposed to have a diary, I think. So I'm gonna have a Runologue. Okay. So what was I gonna say? I just blanked. Okay. Well, we can go into the other stuff. So just a few thoughts that I had when I was out for a run, and I think these will help remind me of them. So diligence, responsibility, posture, and burden. All right, so let's say one thing with I was doing a boxing exercise today, and what I noticed, and I've in the past when I've done this exercise, I'll start to get tired, right? And then I don't feel like there's that much power in my punches, and then I just relax. Today I just relaxed, and I just raised my posture, and I didn't worry about it's weird. I didn't worry about that I needed to push myself or anything like that, and I just relaxed and gave what was there, and all of a sudden I realized I had a lot more in the tank than I was letting myself know, or it I think another way to say this is I think it's the same thing when we go for a run. Like if you go for a run, you might start to get tired, and you're like, you've been running a while, and you're like, man, this is hard. It's hard. And then, it's a mental thing, and if you can get kind of bring awareness to that, your mind is going there, you might realize it's not as hard as you think. Like your body actually is not anywhere close as tired as your mind might think it is. And so then I'll just relax and realize, you know what, this isn't so bad. And then it's like it just like a weight lifted, and it just got easier. I don't know if other people experience that, but I think a mental approach to it. When you start dwelling on that something is hard or thinking it's hard, you can start to want to quit. And so I think it's partly that's part of the battle of exercise is staying in I guess in control of your mental. And once when I relaxed, even when I was super tired, and then I just relaxed, it's like all of a sudden my power doubled. Like I just felt, and so it started bringing up these questions in my mind of how much I let sort of burden or how much I let burden or mental stress take away from my power, I guess. How much I let it take away from what I'm capable of, So I think that's just something I want to have as a reminder for myself, to remind myself, and I think this may have an effect even, in mental or just in everyday life and what I'm doing with music. if I'm feeling like I can't, I'm tight. I feel like I need to push. I need to get maybe in my relationships or whatever. I need to like um, be strong or something like that. Just relax and just be, and don't worry about you know. Uh, you can't be. You can't just like will yourself to become something, you know, at instantly different than you are. So you just got to be what you are, and just be, and so hopefully that makes sense. That was something that I was going through. So posture and burden. Um, don't let burden bring you down. Although that wasn't the purpose of writing the word burden. The word burden, I think, kind of goes along with responsibility and diligence. And the way that I was conceptualizing that this morning when I was on my run, there's two ways. One thing, I washed my driveway 2 days ago. Sprayed, power washed it. Got a whole bunch. I mean, it was filthy, and I power washed about half of it. It's a big driveway, and then so I it took me like literally 2 hours just to do half of it, something like that. So I pushed all that stuff out into the road, and I didn't really know. Well, a bunch of it went to the grass, and then towards the edge, I punched a bunch of it into the road, and then I was going to sweep it up. And I'm not sure about this, so somebody can correct me. If I did something wrong, let me know. But I thought there's probably not a problem with it going down the drain. I mean, that's what happens with leaves and everything that gets blown into the road anyway. It gets washed into there. So I swept a bunch of the stuff that ended up being out in the road. This morning I was sweeping it. Well, there's two ideas here. One, I got it into the road, and then I quit for the day. I'd put 2 hours into it. I'd cleaned my driveway, and I thought, maybe the rain will wash it away. But then the reality is, it looked terrible. It looked, and I just thought from my perspective, it's like I worked really hard. I just pushed it out. I'm gonna take a break. But from anybody else's perspective, that's walking by, it may look like this person just made his problems everyone else's problems. So, that's why we maintain our yards. That's why we maintain everything, is because it's messaging, and it matters. It matters. It impacts your community, and so you want to maintain a good appearance of your home. You want to present a good, image. I kind of don't like to use that word, but basically, it's what you're communicating with the people with your neighbors. Is what you're communicating with the people that you live with. Is standing for good things and making that message clear, and so to push all the stuff out in the road is kind of just like maybe not a good messaging. And so I was thinking about that, and then it's also just like you get to the end of a project or whatever, and you don't want to do that last little bit that needs to get done. So this morning I swept it out. I swept it into the drain. Pushed all the dirt, crumbs, and stuff into the drain. And then when I was doing that, I got this anxiety. I know this is silly. I was doing that, and then I was thinking, I wasn't sure if that's right or not. Like, can that clog the drain? I mean, I don't think so. If I really thought that was possible or there's any real reasonable chance, I wouldn't do it. But I don't know. Maybe it is. So I don't know for sure. So I probably shouldn't have done it. And so then, but I was doing it because I didn't have time. I don't want to sweep it up into, at that small chance that that's not an acceptable behavior. I traded that so I don't have to sweep it into a pile and then go shovel it up off the ground and put it into a bag, and it's just easier. So I'm doing that, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, maybe this is wrong, and these people are driving by in the morning on the way to their work, and they're seeing me, break the cardinal sin of shoveling sweeping the dirt into the drain. It's like I'm the the scum that they're gonna pass by on the way their way to work or whatever, and I'm the low tier of the neighborhood or something, whatever it is, and I'm thinking that, and so I'm like, I start rushing, and then I get the broom jammed into the sewer. I get it jammed into the drain. And then I'm like, oh, snap, like there's a car coming. They're going to see me. and like, uh, and everyone's gonna know. And then it's like try to pull the broom out, and the broom just snaps off, or the plastic. I pull too hard, and I snap the broom uh, end off, and then I yank the. So I have another one. I don't know why I have two, but um, I went. I don't know. It just immediately I just felt like, you know, these are the signs. This is what I felt. These are the signs from God when you're doing things. When you're like that was. It's silly, and it's I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit ashamed of that. That's how my my mental was. You know, um, and I think that that's you know life kind of, or God, or whatever you want to call it. A lot of times when you're doing those kind of mental things, it teaches you really quickly. So um, why do I want to say that? So I can just embarrass myself publicly. Um, I wanted to say that because um, I just think you shouldn't take the easy route. Is not many times when we're trying to get away with things or take the easy route, things that you can't anticipate and predict are there to remind you shouldn't do it that way, and you don't end up ahead. I don't know. That was my lesson this morning. The last thing I wanted to say too. This is about diligence and responsibility. Um, I've noticed. So yesterday I talked about um, social media and YouTube and social. Um, um, well, Eric Barnett called it bandwidth. I liked that. Um, I call it social overload, and that you have and Eric, his concept was like you have a certain amount of bandwidth, for social input. And I was making the comment that I had this thought that when we're doing YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all this input, it's not actually that different from social interaction, and that a lot of what we get from social interaction we get from these um, forms of digital media, and that what ends up happening though is your relationship with social media is not at all the same thing as your relationship with an actual human being. Um, your relationship with a computer is not a relationship with a human being. So you end up using up your social bandwidth for a computer. To an extent, there's something there. So then, when you actually have interactions with people, in real life, you don't have as much to give. You don't have as much presence. You maybe have more stress or whatever you get from whatever piles on from these YouTube videos and Instagram reels and all that. So I was talking about that, and I was also talking about video games and how you can trade the video game for cooking. Trade your escapism. Trade that for something that is actually going to make a verifiable scientifically verifiable benefit to your life. Trade it and see what happens. See you do the video game, or you do the whatever it is, maybe a drug, whatever it is. You do that because you think it's bringing you a certain kind of benefit or a certain kind of relief. But I think I think we know on some level when we know that's not the right ultimate solution. So if you feel like that about something, try trading that for something that even if you might want the other thing more. Just relax and do the other thing and see what kind of difference that makes for you. You might find that it lifts you up mentally a lot more than the escape escapism activity did. So what I've found, and this gets a little bit personal, I don't go into it that much, but what I've found is that my relationship with my wife is often at its best when I am not doing the things that I feel like I shouldn't be doing. And I think that has something to do with that that's it's like when I choose to do things that I know are not ultimately sort of in alignment with the best version of myself, or the most with the version of myself that is, I gotta think how to say this. When I choose to do things, like when I choose to play a video game, that's in direct support of me. Like, that's a very selfish action. I'm wanting to escape. I'm wanting to not have to deal with the things that I have to deal with. So when I choose to do that, that is a failure of my relationship to my wife. And so when I do that, I undermine our relationship. And I think that's something that, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, or the biggest deal in the world, but a whole bunch of little things add up to a lot. And so it can't be underestimated. I think the more that you hold yourself accountable for making sure that your behaviors are in alignment, that doesn't mean you need to just be working all the time and just push, that kind of thing. We all need breaks. We all need to rest. I think that is within in alignment. But choosing escapism or mindless entertainment, I think this undermines our relationship with the people that depend on us, or that that are part of our lives, that we are in relationship with, and so I think that's some thoughts on responsibility. And so those are some thoughts that I had this morning while I was running. So thanks for listening. This is Runologues number 3. I think that's everything I have to say for today. So hope you guys have a good day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.